Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito is facing scrutiny after the New York Times reported Alito's home displayed a second flag used and embraced and waved by January 6th rioters. Matthew Taylor joins us now. Matthew is a senior scholar at the Institute for Islamic, Christian, and Jewish Studies. Matthew, it's good to have you with us. Matthew, I want to point out, is also the author of a forthcoming book that explores the Christian movement's ties to former President Trump and January 6, 2021. So, Matthew, the New York Times today quotes you as saying, the appeal to heaven flag represents a, quote, theological vision of what the United States should be and how it should be governed. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so this is a Revolutionary War flag. It goes back to the very founding of America. But in 2013, a Christian nationalist leader named Dutch Sheets, he's a leader in a movement that was fairly obscure but has become more and more popular, called the New Apostolic Reformation. He was given one of these flags, and he believed that he received a prophecy when he received this flag, that it was a symbol of a revolution that would take place in America, a spiritual revolution that would reconstitute the United States as a truly Christian nation. He began spreading this idea. He wrote a book in 2015 called An Appeal to Heaven, and the other New Apostolic Reformation networks that he's a part of, these are vast leadership networks in what is called the independent charismatic world, so the non-denominational wing of Pentecostalism. And these ideas, this meme of this flag has spread in that world rapidly over the last decade until it's become this very potent symbol of Christian nationalism, Christian Trumpism, opposition to abortion, opposition to gay marriage, and a desire for a more Christian America.
And it has been said that Christian nationalism can be viewed either as a slur or a diagnostic. What do you see it as, and can you explain the difference?
I'm a scholar of religion, and so I see Christian nationalism as a diagnostic term. It's just a descriptive term. We talk about Hindu nationalism, Islamic nationalism, Buddhist nationalism. Christian nationalism is just the Christian version of people trying to blend together a Christian identity with their national identity, or their religious identity and their civic identity. And on some level, that's not necessarily a problem for American pluralism, so long as everyone is agreeing to play by the rules. Everyone is agreeing to live by the rules of our democracy. But the Dutch Sheets and the New Apostolic Reformation were heavily involved. They were some of the most important Christian leaders, driving Christians, encouraging Christians to show up on January 6th, to stand in many ways against American democracy, to violate the rules of our democracy. And my worry is that this increasing anti-democratic sentiment has really been festering and growing in evangelical communities that are becoming more radicalized around ideas like the appeal to heaven.
Matthew, in this context, can you explain to our audience what the Seven Mountain Mandate is and how it relates to this?
The Seven Mountain Mandate is the underlying political theology of the New Apostolic Reformation. It was an idea coined by a friend of Dutch Sheets, a man named Lance Wallnau. And the idea is that you can divide every society up into 7 spheres: family, government, religion, education, and on, and that Christians are mandated by God to climb the tops of every one of these mountains, the mountain of government, the mountain of education, to hold the high places. And in the framework of the New Apostolic Reformation, those mountains are either controlled by demonic powers and Satan or by Christians and God. And so there's a battle going on in the spiritual realm and in the real world for Christians to hold supremacy in each one of these 7 mountains. And this was given as a major rationale. Lance Wallnau was one of the first Christian leaders to endorse Donald Trump in 2015, and he has been the leading proponent of this idea. Dutch Sheets is another proponent of the Seven Mountain Mandate, and this is an idea that has spread very quickly. A colleague of mine and I did a survey recently, and we found that more than 50% of American evangelicals agree with this idea of the Seven Mountain Mandate that was an obscure idea originating on the margins of American Christianity 25 years ago, has now become a central feature of American evangelicalism. And it is a radical vision of Christian supremacy.
And before we go, very quickly, Matthew, in that context, you would say a flag, in this instance, isn't just a flag.
Well, in many ways, a flag is never just a flag. It's not a personal decoration. It's not something you put up in your home. It is a signal that you are sending. And my question, and it's a question I don't have an answer to, is who is Sam Alito trying to signal with this flag? And what is he trying to signal? What does it mean to him? Because in the public realm, in the last decade, it has taken on these connotations of Christian Trumpism, Christian nationalism, January 6th revolution. What does Sam Alito mean with this flag? I don't know, but there's an intentionality to flying a flag in your home that should at the very least be interrogated.
Matthew Taylor, we thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.